Hitler thought what he was doing was right. The higher law was defined by people with higher authority that was given by other people.
So according to your worldview, if the Nazis would have won World War II, it would be good to gas Jews.
To them, yes. Let him talk and then we can reply.
So there are two different types of people trying to debunk Cliffe, and then another one joins them. So they have three amazing people. It's absolutely crazy, some of their accusations trying to debunk Christianity or the Bible. So let's get right into it. Shout out to Cliffe and give me an answer.
And like just because it's really hard to determine like where logic comes from, doesn't mean like there's a God that did it.
Where does your rational mind come from?
From ourselves, because we have free will. We make our own morals. Hitler thought what he was doing was right because he thought that what he was doing was morally right. Obviously, people can disagree because the perception of right comes from within. It comes from yourself. You know, like some people could say that what he was doing was right. You could agree with him. Some people can say that no, it wasn't right. That is why we're going to step in and try and stop him. So you could say that.
So what do you think?
What do you mean, what do I think?
What do you think of the Nuremberg trials when the lawyer who's representing 24 Nazi generals steps forward and says, wait a second, you allies are from another culture. Nazi culture taught these gentlemen to gas Jews. And the Nuremberg trial shut down. Until Robert Jackson, the American consul, stood up and said there is a law above the law of a culture. And according to that law, gassing Jews is absolutely wrong. The Nuremberg trials kicked back into gear, and those Nazi criminals were brought to justice. Robert Jackson's argument that there's a law above the law of culture is based on a theistic worldview.
That's from
that there
him,
is a
though.
God who creates human beings with value, and regardless of your culture, if you slaughter innocent people, that is a denigration of the value of a human being.
The higher law was defined by people with higher authority that was given by other people.
So according to your worldview, if the Nazis would have won World War II, it would be good to gas Jews.
To them, yes. And they would tell people...
No. Not to them. In reality.
In reality, according to
There is no
culture,
reality. Good point. There is no reality.
It's,
So if there is no reality, where on earth do you get off telling Nazis that it's wrong to gas Jews?
because that's for their perception of reality. That is not your perception of reality. That's not my perception of reality. That's their perception of reality, and that's what they choose to act on.
Good.
So
you'd never tell them they're wrong in any absolute sense.
I would tell them that they're wrong because that's my perception of what their actions are.
But you'd
they
never
would say,
force your reality on them, right?
Right.
Because there really is no
a
reality.
lot
as
of
this
people
gentleman
do
said.
force their reality on
But you
others.
wouldn't do it, right? Because you understand everything's relative.
Yeah.
Okay,
Why
so
not?
Okay, good. So when you're confronted by a child abuser, what do you do?
Tell them to stop.
Tell them what?
I tell them to stop abusing children.
Whoa!
That's
Because
your
I
view
think
of
it's
reality.
wrong, and it's my right to step in.
How dare you tell them that's wrong? How dare you?
And say, no, you can't
Oh, it
do
is.
this.
Okay, fine. Then it's their right also to step in and say, bug off.
Yeah,
But they get upset if someone like doesn't affirm their sexuality. And why can't you just be like, well, that's just your opinion. La 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 la.
exactly. They can say
Fine.
that. That's fine.
And you're not
Exactly,
right and they're not
walk with the
wrong.
Spirit.
And they're not right and you're not wrong. It's all relative, right?
It is all relative.
Okay,
Good.
So did God lay down moral laws because they are right,
God
or
didn't
are
lay
they
down
right
moral laws.
because they are moral laws? Like this is a question like real inquiry. It's not like pointed at anything. I'm legitimately asking the question. Like,
Okay.
are moral laws that God gave right because they came from God, or did God give them because they were right?
Because God is an eternal being, there was no value before God.
There was no
God-
value before God.
Okay, no. Okay,
God
so-
has existed throughout eternity. So, the value of goodness is defined by...
Wait,
Okay, now,
hang on.
I thought you told me that this was a real question that you really wanted an answer to.
Yeah, and I would like a legitimate answer instead of
Here.
a
All right, let him
twisting,
talk. Let him talk, and then we can reply. Go, please.
These guys are so funny. They seem like bullies on the playground, and they're like, let him talk, and then we'll get him.
Go for it. I want to hear your answer as well.
You didn't ask the question, though.
I didn't answer
I'm
it.
interested what the guy who asked the question's thinking. I'm interested what's going on inside of you, man. What's happening?
I was waiting for an answer.
No, you weren't waiting for an answer. You interrupted me straight in the middle. I began to answer you. Now, come
Yeah,
on, tell me,
because you weren't answering
what's
the
going on
question.
inside, man? Tell me. Be honest with me.
Be honest?
Yeah, be honest.
I think that, like, the discourse that we're engaging in here is, on the large part, ineffectual.
Yeah.
But
Then why are you wasting your time continuing?
because it's, like, really fun, and I like being here.
Fair enough. That's
good.
why I'm here too, actually.
So you think that the moral law is imposed by God, right? You think like the moral law that we have that says it's not right to gas Jews, that law that we have to answer to.
Now we have another
is
guy.
A God-given law. That's what I'm just a question. Is that what you're saying?
Right.
So
Now, here's what I'm saying.
no, but you just said yes. That is what you're saying.
like
So
we're
are you
intimidating you guys.
recorrecting? Are you delivering your statement? Do you think that the moral law that says gassing Jews is wrong, that's God-given? Yes or no?
I don't give yes/no answers to that kind of question.
Okay, then yeah, go ahead.
Thank you.
Elaborate.
If there is no God,
Okay.
there is no real, intangible value of justice.
I don't believe that. I believe that if, and I wouldn't say I'm an atheist. I'm not an atheist at all. But if I was an atheist, the reason that I don't punch these two people, anybody here in the face, is not because of a God. It's because of something that I owe to my fellow man, to my fellow individual. So like that's what I'm saying is like
Good.
it doesn't have to be God given. It can come from people, come from so many other sources besides God.
We control our own
Okay,
actions.
now, when you say the reason I'm not going to punch them is because I owe them, what you're communicating is duty. Are you not? What you're
Yeah.
communicating is I owe them respect.
Yeah.
Okay, now, if there is no God, those two hunks of protoplasm on your left are accidental hunks of protoplasm.
That means so am I. So I figure we're in the same
So
boat,
are we
so I
all.
should treat them nice.
Okay. So, the question then is there any innate worth to a human life? Innate, intrinsic worth to a human life.
Definitely.
Why?
Because we're all here, we're all doing something, we're all making
We're
a
here.
difference.
Yeah, the rock is here.
Yeah, I mean,
If I were to do that to you, I would argue that would be evil. Stamp on you.
yeah, I figure.
All right,
Yeah.
so
I wouldn't like
the
it
rock
much.
is here, you're here. Why can I step on the rock and not be doing something evil? But if I step on you, I'm doing something evil.
I like to think
Because it
I
doesn't
like to think I have more value than a rock. That's just me though.
Yeah, I like to think I'm the greatest. Does that mean I'm the greatest?
I'm sure somebody does.
No. Nobody thinks I'm the greatest.
Well, that's kind of bad.
But if I create
Wait,
that,
why is that bad? Do people think you are the greatest? Oh my goodness. What he's getting at is there is no God. If there was no one who created you, then you're no different than that rock. It's just reality.
illusion in my mind, I'm out of touch with reality. So please explain to me why these two hunks of protoplasm over here have value. Why do you have value?
Okay, so
Wait,
You're not the guy
where-
I'm asking.
Yeah.
Okay.
The reason that I have value
Yeah?
isn't given to me by God
Okay, where do you get it
from being here.
From being here.
The same faith that you have in your God or in the God, in any God, the same faith that anybody has in any God, I have that same faith in existing, in
No.
being human, in establishing connections with people. That's what gives people my worth. People don't have worth because they believe in God. Because if somebody didn't believe in God,
It's not out at all.
yeah, it is.
People have innate value because we're not hunks of protoplasm. We're human beings created by God for a purpose. Every atheist has value, every agnostic, every Buddhist, Hindu, Christian, Jew, we all have equal value
value
because
because
we're all
we have-
created by God for a purpose.
So we only have value because we're created by God?
Correct.
Okay.
We're
well,
not hunks of primordial slime evolved to a higher order. We're not simply pond scum.
Well,
Because if it's true that we are pond scum, to talk about innate value is an exercise in la la land, fantasy.
if you think that my worth is given to me by God and I don't earn it myself and develop it through my own course of being and my own lifestyle, then I mean just a whole nother subject, that I feel like you don't value my worth as an individual, as my actions, that because I don't accept a God, a higher being, then I lose my value. I don't think that's fair, because I would never do that.
Say that. I never said that once. Let me say it one more time.
Okay, that's the most sad reason to have value, or your philosophy on thinking how you gain value is based off of what you do. So what if people can't do as great of things as another person? Does that make you less valuable? No, sorry, it doesn't. You have intrinsic value if you are made in the image of God. By your logic, you don't have any value because you haven't done as much amazing things compared to another person. That's sad. What if someone doesn't contribute to society as much as the other person? What if someone can't walk and they're stuck in a wheelchair and the only thing that they can do is eat food because someone feeds them? Does that mean they don't have any value then? No, they're made in the image of God still.
You guys aren't listening well. I'm really not.
Okay.
Every atheist,
Yeah.
every agnostic.
You're right. You did say that. I'm sorry. You're right. You're
All right, so please listen to me, okay? And don't misquote me that way. That's very offensive.
I do apologize.
Thank you. I forgive you.
Okay.
But please listen to me, okay? So, if there is no God, sir, you're up a creek without a paddle when it comes to explaining why you think human beings have innate value. Because we don't.
Because there's value in life. There's value in life itself.
Beautiful, bravo.
And
That's your opinion. It's your prejudice. Do you like broccoli or do you like corn? Oh, I like broccoli. Great, that's your taste. Do you think human beings have value? Yes. Do you think human beings have no value? Yes. It doesn't matter what you believe, it's just taste. Because in reality, you're pond scum. I'm pond scum, that's all we are. If there is no God. Our number came up in a Monte Carlo game. We got lucky. So we don't have innate value. Now, I can run around saying, I'm the greatest, and you're the greatest, because I really like you guys. But that's meaningless, sir, if there is no God. It's all meaningless.
It's not meaningless.
Of course
because
it is.
Someone else puts value in you. I'm sure that your
Bravo.
wife...
Give me all the value you want, man.
Yeah, I'm sure your wife and kids put a lot of value in you.
The only reason
At
why
times, yes, and at other times, no.
Obviously. Value can vary, I will tell you that.
The only reason
but
why
the thing is that, you get value from what you yourself think about yourself. And
Good.
also what people
I totally
think about
disagree.
you.
I work with people in psychiatric hospitals, and I can promise you, deeply depressed people have no sense of value of themselves. And I can promise you they are just as valuable. And I work with severely handicapped people. I can promise you.
They are valuable. They themselves do not think that they are
I am
valuable.
convinced that they're human beings created by God for a purpose. So I don't care if you're deeply depressed, or if you're mentally challenged, or if you're in a coma on a hospital bed, you're still a human being created in the image of God. I don't care if you're atheist, agnostic, a tree hugger, a Republican, or even a Democrat. You have equal value because we all are created in the image of God.
But that equal value that we all have.
Yes.
Considering that you are promoting Jesus Christ, ultimately that goes to heaven. So we all have an equal value, but we don't have an equal value to all get into heaven unless we accept Jesus.
I am not going to heaven because God created me. Because although God created me, I have a free will, and I chose to flip God off. I've chosen to sin. I've chosen to tell God, get out. So God honors my request because he respects my dignity, and I deserve to spend eternity separate from him. That's hell. But God loves this rebel so much that he sent his son Christ to bleed and die on a cross to forgive me, to reconcile me to himself.
So, I know a lot of people who have explicitly said very mean things towards the name of God.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
They're still alive and well. Otherwise, I'd be at a funeral right now. I'd be at tons of funerals right now, quite frankly. So, why haven't they been smited?
Because God is patient with them.
Okay.
But they will die.
Yes. All right. They will die.
All right.
But then,
So
wait.
the reason that Jesus died on the cross is to take the punishment, the hell that we deserve for our wrongdoing. He died as a substitute. He died as a sacrifice to offer us the option of forgiveness and life with God for eternity. That's why he died on the cross.
So, all right. So, say after you've done all of this bad, so-called bad things.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
You've done this for your entire life, and you're on your deathbed, about to die, a natural death. You're old, you've lived your life, and then suddenly, and after denouncing God for your entire life, you randomly say, you know what? Jesus is my homeboy.
Yep.
So does that
Jesus is my
automatically get you into
homeboy.
heaven because God is like, oh, all right, he's seen the light now.
No,
Come up here.
it doesn't, because it's just random. But if you are genuine,
If he was a genuine,
Genuine,
just like a random,
yes.
just randomly just genuine change.
yep,
Just started just bawling tears. It's like, all right, like Jesus is my homeboy. I'm sorry. Can I get up there?
yes, that's exactly what happened to the thief on the.
Like he's saying, that's exactly what happened to the thief on the cross. But they actually have to have a change of heart where they admit that they're sinner and they can't do it on their own. They want to spend with God for eternity, and they want to accept him as their Lord and Savior and repent of their sins. By God's grace through faith, you are saved, but it's not because of our works, so that no man can boast.
The cross, crucified next to Christ. He turns to Christ and says, remember me when you come into your kingdom, and Jesus doesn't say, time out, first get down and work in a soup kitchen. No, he offers him grace, forgiveness.
Wow.
He says, I tell you the truth,
So
today
there's
be
no
with me in
redemption
paradise.
for all the things that he did. He just had to cry a little bit and just say,
No,
Cry
we agree.
later.
Genuinely, we
genuinely,
agree.
even then, does
Genuine?
that still mean that say the man or you, like say you did all this stuff, you had taken no justice, you had taken no physical or mental punishment from human beings, and you were about to die your natural death, and you said, you know what, I accept Jesus into my life now, genuinely, then you just get sent to heaven?
Genuine faith in Christ is a statement. God, I am sorry for what I've done.
But there's
I
still no
repent.
punishment for it. And you
Forgive
said-
me. Christ took the punishment in his death on a cross. The punishment is paid. I would argue that if I throw a racial slur at him, if I'm not punished for it, then my racist attitude towards him is being trivialized. He's being trivialized, and I'm being trivialized. The reason that I deserve punishment for demeaning him is because he has innate worth, and so do I. And if I attack his worth by racially going after him, I deserve to be punished.
So who gives him that worth? Not
God.
God doesn't give him that worth because a teacher or someone else is telling you no. He gives you like a little slap on the wrist. That's your punishment. Say that's your punishment. Just as an example. Okay? A human gave you that slap on the wrist. Not God. God didn't come down here and say, no, bad. You know?
Okay, you're
Like,
going
holy
outside the
slap on the
analogy,
wrist.
okay? You're going
Holy slap
outside
on
my
the
point of the analogy. If I have a racist attitude towards him, I am attacking not only him, I'm attacking the God in whose image he has been created. I deserve death and hell. Because what I'm saying is, God, when you made him, you did a lousy job. And that's a lie. When God made him, he did a beautiful job. When God made me, he did a beautiful job. But he didn't make me to denigrate him. Now, I deserve hell from my racist attitude. Christ died on a cross to take the hell that I deserve. And if I am genuinely sorry, meaning, my man, I am sorry for my racist attitude, God, forgive me for my racist attitude, then God applies the death of his son Christ to my life, I'm forgiven, and I will go to heaven.
What if he doesn't forgive you? What if the people who so God gives you a value and he can forgive you. But what about all of us stand here who see you make a racist comment toward him? We don't forgive you. We give you that value. That's what I mean, ultimately it's going to come down to, me and you have a difference of opinion where you think God gives people value and I think we give people value. So I mean, we can debate that forever, so I'd rather not, but I'm just from my point of view, the reason retribution that you may get in an afterlife that nobody can really be certain of isn't enough punishment for sins that we commit. And it's because God doesn't give you a value. It's because I give him a value, or I give anybody that you disrespect a value. That's not coming from God, that's coming from me. And if you impinge on that, obviously it's not my right to be a vigilante and take punishment. But why do I have to leave it up to God to take care of you when I feel like you just disrespected his life and there's no guarantee that a God is gonna like. Does that make sense? I don't know if I'm rambling.
You are rambling. I'm not for sure what you're getting at. We all have value because God has given us value. We are intrinsic value. If you believe that God made us in his image and has given us value, we can't be racist towards someone. We can't treat someone any differently because of how they look, how they do. It's all because of what God has given you, and that is value. All right.
Sir, if you think that any human court gives out perfect justice,
Oh, of course not.
thank you. So, if there is no day of judgment when God judges us, realize justice does not ultimately win. Blaise Pascal put it accurately when he said, "The judges of my day wear white wigs to cover up their injustice."
Makes sense.
Justice is a joke often in our own society.
So
If you hire a talented, high-priced lawyer, you can get away with murder.
no.
All right. Jesus Christ says there will be a day of judgment when an all-knowing judge will judge justly, which means justice ultimately wins. If there is no God, if there is no day of judgment, let's not be so naive as to think that justice ultimately wins. It does not. That is why, if you're an atheist, you have to struggle with despair, because you realize too frequently justice loses. And I respect my atheist friends highly intellectually for the way they struggle with despair. I have zero intellectual respect for an atheist who says everything's cool. No, everything is not cool. Because if what you say is right, that there is no God, that means there is no day of judgment, and justice will not ultimately win, which means despair is the ultimate conclusion.
So
I
if
didn't say there wasn't
someone
a God.
was,
You didn't catch that?
No, I just said I didn't say.
If a man goes and executes a baby and the judge just lets them go scot-free, is that a good judge? No. He needs to be punished for those sins. He needs to be punished for those and be put away in jail.
There wasn't a God, just to clarify.
All right, fine. I don't know. I don't know what you believe,
All
okay?
right, so-
I'm just talking about if a person says there is no God, but they're not willing to grapple with despair, they're not being intellectually honest. Albert Camus, the French atheistic existentialist philosopher, put it beautifully when he said, "The only question modern man must answer is, why not?" If there is no God, your life is ultimately meaningless. If there is no God,
See, that's what it comes down to. If there's no God, my life is meaningless. I don't dig that. So I mean,
I know you
that's
don't.
what it comes down to. Like I said,
I
it comes
know you
down to
don't.
yeah. So I mean,
and that's
if
why
there
I'm
is
raining
no
on
God,
you.
we
Actually,
still have the
truthfully-
action to give meaning to our own lives. And
Yeah,
give
we
meaning to
can.
other lives.
I am the greatest.
Truthfully,
Yeah, you can totally
I can,
believe
I
that.
can, I can believe that. Guess what? It's a fantasy. It's an illusion. I am not the greatest.
You have that perception of reality, though. You have that perception of reality that you are the greatest. Therefore, to you, it makes it real.
No!
truthfully,
No! If you really think if whatever perception of reality inside your head you think that somehow makes it real, what? I'm sorry, that's just not how the world works. That's like my perception of reality thinks that I could drive with my eyes closed. I will drive with my eyes closed, but I will hit a tree or a car or even hit a tree without my eyes closed because I actually have hit a tree once driving.
it just seems like you're trying to escape from reality by investing yourself in a God. It seems like so despair is too much for me to deal with, man. I just can't do it. So
it's
I'm going
not.
to invest in a absentee father figure who's going to rain down judgment upon me because I am not capable of doing it myself.
If it is true that there is no God, if it is true that we have all evolved from lower life forms and that's it, then if Hitler wants to say the white race is superior, the Aryan race is superior, and we got to wipe out Jews, that's his personal take on evolution, survival of the fittest. If a very nice atheist friend, like the ones that I have, say, no, we want to be kind to everybody, that's true for them. But it's all relative, ultimately, if there is no God. And if you're going to try and base human worth on evolution, then why don't you study what Hitler did with eugenics, with insisting, no, the Aryan race is a higher level of the evolutionary cycle than the Jew, so therefore, we're going to wipe out the Jew so the Aryan race can win. Totally logical. If you start at atheism, of course it is. Survival of the fittest. And if you determine that one race is superior to another race, why wouldn't you want to wipe out another race?
Because it wouldn't be relative.
How can there be a God if all these bad things happen? How in the world? Why are there so many bad people? What about all the murderers? Crazy stuff. 15 says they demonstrate that God's law is written in their hearts, for their own conscience and thoughts either accuse them or tell them they are doing right.